Alright everyone, here finally is the video review for Fans Hobby MB-22 Skyflame. MB stands for Master Builder. That's the line of these figures they've been putting together. It's Skyflame. It is a version of Armada Jetfire in a space shuttle mode, and it's very cool. This guy's fun just by himself. I've been having a lot of fun playing with him by himself, but of course there are other play patterns and values you can find with him. Let me get this lined up properly and plugged in here underneath. But yeah, so here is in space shuttle mode, and you can see pretty much everything you need to here. There's not a whole lot of poseability or things. You can fold these fins in if you'd like. We'll see that as part of the transformation. You can angle these flat or straight, however you want. I think they look a little bit more dynamic angled, especially with these extra fins up here, because he's not a one-to-one replica of the space shuttle. He's got some extra fins and all this stuff, but there's a quick turnaround of the shuttle itself. The thruster part of his gun has a little magnetic LED in it, magnet activated. The magnet is in the Minicon, the small robot, which we'll show off in a little bit, but also you have to take this little cover off to activate it. The original instructions show it just being activated without having to remove this. There's a little insert that says you have to take that off because the magnet in here is just not quite strong enough to get the distance through this extra cover. But I have some rare earth magnets that I bought for a 3D printing project I was doing, and those, you can see, are strong enough to get there. They have enough of a pull there to activate that LED. So you can kind of see what it looks like here in vehicle mode if you wanted to. But it's just that one. The feet / heels do not have an LED. It's just in what will become the gun. The micro robot kind of nestles in here, but actually plugs in. There's a couple tiny little pegs that plug in to these holes here underneath the robot. There's a shield here. This is wheels. Once you take this off, you can fold the wheels up and around, push them flat, and you can leave that part attached underneath the space shuttle because that's all you need for the robot, for the combined mode. With a separate robot, everything else is complete here. In the shuttle mode, it's very swooshable. It's fun to fly around and have a good time with. Really, like, although this is just tabbed in, don't just hold it by this because it's tabbed in here and then tabbed in here. We'll see it in a minute. But that can shake it around enough and that can pop off, especially if you're doing anything upside down. So make sure you grab him from a more secure standpoint if you're going to really swoosh him. But you can do it. And again, there's a space shuttle. You want the shield on. You can play with it just fine with the shield off, this piece right here off as well. But this shield has a couple little tabs, little tiny tabs right here at the top. And those are for if you have cross-load. There's a couple little slots here on the back. I don't know if you can see them down the top. They're on the top of those silver pieces right here that these tabs will sit in to kind of, I mean, like, he doesn't lock or snap into place, but it kind of just gives him a little bit more security than just relying on the feet back here. And I find it's easier to go across the way, get that one tabbed in, and then line this one up over here. Because, see, there he's locked in, but he's clearly not sitting straight. So get those lined up in those slots, and you can have cross-load carry Skyflame. Now, you can also, if you've seen the videos where I've tried to do this, I'm not going to pull out Prime with the trailer or Naval Commander with the trailer, just because, like, you can remove the small robot, you can attach this trailer to the back of Naval Commander and have a big long convoy of all the vehicles that can combine together attached, but I cannot physically fit it in this space. I think I might be able to fit it with a twist in it, but getting it on camera all at once in my review space here, it's super long and it's hard to do. But it's basically just this attached to the back of Naval Commander, and there are photos of it all over Twitter from the Fans Hobby account. I'll probably post some pictures of it at some point when I put them all together. But for the sake of the video review, that's how he fits on the trailer. I'm not going to make the whole convoy because I just do not have the length here on this table. Like, the edge of the table is not far. My hand goes off the screen, and now it's off the edge of the table. And same over on this side as well. So there's not a whole lot of extra room here. Anyway, that's enough ranting about that. Let's go ahead and get to Skyflame himself. And there were a few bits in the instructions that were a little vague, and then when I went back and went, oh, it works like this, and looked at it again, they are in the instructions, but there's a couple places where my vision is not what it used to be, and there's some small bits that I didn't catch the first time around. But we'll deal with those. So let's go ahead and get him into his basic robot mode. And we'll come under here and we'll just kind of pop this shield off. It's actually much more secure. You can see there's a couple tabs here that go in here, and there's tabs on the top. So when you reattach this, going back to shuttle mode, you want to kind of, there's some slots here in his kneecaps. You want to slide these tabs in first and then push them in to these tabs up here, and that'll lock the chest plate on, or what will become a chest plate. Also, there's this is going to be the waist plate for combined mode, and it stays up here for shuttle mode, but you can also, once you close this up and these are exposed, you can see as you push this up, when you push this flat, these little T tabs come out, and then you can flip this over. You can see there's some slots right there. This stores, for the shield mode, this stores down here, so it still stays securely stored in all of your different configurations, but that way you can access the handle so you can hold this in robot mode. And sometimes you need a little bit of a spudger to get under there to kind of pop the handle up a little bit. It's hard to get your fingernail down in there. We'll flip that handle up, and then we'll have the shield for robot mode. You can see I've already put a repro label on it, which is generally a sign that I really enjoy a figure if I go ahead and have it labeled by the time I shoot the video review. And then for Skyflame himself, we come back here and just kind of split the legs just a little bit. Pull these apart just enough to get the gun out, and you can flip the handle down on the gun. The fin does not fold away at all or anything. It's just this. Again, if you take this off, you can see the little LED in there. It takes AG0 batteries. I'm trying to think of what the instruction manual says, and I did have some lying around. AG0 may have been what I needed for Naval Commander's head. I'll look it up in a second, but there's a little magnet here in the back part of the mini robot that you can activate the LED with, but you do have to take that cover off, because unlike the little pack of magnets that I have over here, it's just, the instructions show you it working like this, but it's just not quite strong enough to reach and activate that LED with this cover on. But then you just snap the cover back on and it's like that. I'm just going to turn it off with this. Maybe I need to get, which end, there we go, for the time being. If you wanted to, you might be able to replace that magnet. I'm not sure exactly how it's in there, but you could conceivably fix that if you wanted to, but it's not bad. Put the mini robot off to the side as well. Gun off to the side as well. So then open up these panels and fold these fins in. You can also go ahead and detach the wings, because honestly, if you open these up enough to fold the fins in, they're probably going to untab. You see this tab right here anyway. So fold those in like that. And then close them back up. Push the thrusters up. And this is important. You want to push them all the way back until they click into place. And then you don't want to try to pose the foot without this thruster back, because there's a kind of a, it's hard to see, and there's a flat kind of like a ball in the ankle with like a flat piece. And this comes down and locks into place. So if you move it too hard without releasing the thruster, you could conceivably snap the heel, which is the same red transparent plastic up in here. And flip the feet down. You can also use the feet down to kind of push this up, but it's easier to just slide that up. And then you push the middle of the foot, this inner blue section, you push it up, and that will, you can see this one's more flat, and this one pops up a little bit and is contoured. Just gives the foot a little bit of dimension to it. And you come out here and pull these pieces down to the side. Slide these panels back and collapse the thigh. There are a lot of pictures, and even some of my pictures originally had these thighs extended for the combined mode with Prime, but you actually want to extend these pieces down here, which we'll show off in a little bit. The extended thighs are only for the shuttle mode, or at least you can extend them if you want, but they're only intended to be for the shuttle mode. You collapse these up like this, slide this back, and collapse that up like that. Get these out of the way here. And you see things are coming together. Get this out of the way. Come back here, split open these panels. Go ahead and lift this up a little bit. These are going to come up, and they're on a dual hinge. They kind of come up and out, and then you can lift these panels up, and then they will also, they're on a slide. There's a hinge, and there's a sliding mechanism. So you lift that up, and then hinge that up. Lift that up, hinge that up, You pull these out and you rotate them around like this. And here's what I'm talking about. There's a double hinge here that collapses in for shuttle mode and then folds back around up here, and then you rotate it for robot mode and combined mode. Just like that. Let's get up here and get to the upper part of the robot. This whole assembly should just fold down forward. Then you extend, grab the waist and extend this. Well, yeah, this comes up and off, but you also want to make sure this is extended here, because when this folds down, you want this extra space. This is what this extended joint is for. All right. Still a little top heavy here. Come up here. And then this whole nose cone comes down and flips around like this. And you can open up these panels right here on the sides. Open up. And the important part here also is to pull them out. So don't just flip them open, but these little black pieces they're on, pull them all the way out, because you're going to want this panel to collapse all the way. Otherwise, it's really hard to get the nose tone to connect, because this is going to want to keep pushing against this and we'll keep popping it off. This is on a hinge right here, and it does pop off easily and snaps back on easily. So just be careful, because if you don't have these up and you don't have this folded all the way into the nose cone, which we'll see in a second, this piece will end up conflicting with that, and you won't be able to lock this whole torso in right away, which is one of my initial complaints until I figured out exactly how it's supposed to go together, and then it's much more secure and solid and makes me happy. So great. Anyway, lift this up just a little bit, and you want to kind of pull these arm pieces out one at a time. Pull it up in there, and this is what I'm talking about. If you don't have these pushed in, this only goes that far, and that's where you start popping it off, like that. If you pull these all the way out, that should collapse all the way up into the nose cone and be flat against the white plate up in there. So as long as that's happening, you should have the clearance to do what you need to do. We're getting a little, bring this down just a little bit. And the instructions, it took me, again, this is one of the ones where, like, once I knew what I was doing, it made sense. With the instructions, just reading them the first time through weren't 100% clear. There's a little, you're gonna rotate the arms out on this hinge, and there's a little bit of a curved cutout here. And what you wanna do, and the instructions do show this, it's just easier once you know what you're doing. You wanna kinda angle this up so this rail kind of goes up into that curved slot. And once you get it about halfway over, rotate the arm that way, so then it has the clearance to go over that. You can force it, but you don't want to do that. Never force your toys if you're hitting some plastic, and that just makes that whole process much nicer and smoother if you just kind of angle it up, rotate it over, rotate it down, spin it back around. And you want to rotate this here at this pin, bring the arms down, make sure these stay out, make sure that stays collapsed. Rotate the arms around. These panels right here slide down onto the forearm, so they're not right up against here. Now rotate his fists around, lock that panel down. He's got not individually jointed fingers, but his first finger is a single finger, and then you got two hinges on the back fingers, but they are all one piece, or at least together on the hands. And then you bring this up like this, so you see his head, and then slide this whole piece up on that, so his head comes all the way up to the top like that. And then lift his head up, turn it around, face forward. There we go. And then it'll slide this down like this, but turn his head around to face forward, and then that's gonna slide up in that gap. And then for the gap behind it, this panel doesn't lock into place as well as I would like sometimes, but there's a panel here with a couple little divots you can get your finger on to slide back and fill that gap there, which is neat. Get it like this. And this is where you'll have trouble if you don't have this all collapsed properly, because you want to have this torso extended. You want to make sure this panel is flat all the way up in there, so it doesn't interfere with any of this stuff. And you're going to kind of fold this up. There's two pegs here that are going to peg into these two peg holes up here. And then there's two pegs inside here that are going to peg in to these two peg holes on either side of this black piece. And if you don't have all of this lined up properly and this that panel collapsed properly in the nose, it's really hard to get it to do it smoothly. You just bring this up and around. Come on. There we go. Up like that. Kind of pull these panels out to the side, get them out of the way. They extend a little bit. And then you can see there's kind of, right here, there's a slot on each side, and you want this white panel to go in that slot on either side of there. And it takes a little bit of finagling because you can't really see where those tabs are to go in there. And this has got to be low enough to, don't collapse like that. And it's harder to do this when you're sitting behind a video camera and can't see what's happening. Hold on one second. There we go. Again? Yeah. But yeah, so you can kind of see it here. It's these panels get in the way, but hold it in place. You're going to get it so these go in the slot. But I find it's easier to get this piece popped in properly and then kind of come back here and get the upper part pegged into those upper peg holes. And then once it's all locked in, it's pretty secure. It's just a matter of getting it all locked in the first place. Bring the arms down. Okay, no, see, you gotta stay locked in there, buddy. There we go. And then these panels kind of double hinge up to the front. These panels come up here, lock. Nope, lock that part down, there we go. And then these, bring the arms so these panels that they're connected to are straight. And then these side panels kind of nestle, you push them in, and then they nestle right up into that armpit. Like that. That came loose again. Why are you not, did I not pull this all the way down enough to lock? Oh, there we go. You gotta make sure that locks into place. It doesn't lock, but it's much more secure if you bring it all down all the way. Bring these panels in a little bit. Here, because you're gonna take the wing and rotate it up over his shoulder like that. And you can angle it however you want on any of the joints. Bring that down. Bring these back in here. Bring those back. Bring the arms down. And there he is in robot mode. Like I said, you can straighten out the wings, you can keep them angled, whatever you want to do. He also does have these little flip out ports, so if you have a Minicon that has a post, it can peg in up here, or like I said, this little small robot has a little, come here, you. Has a peg hole on the bottom that you can use to attach. I can get this lined up properly. Yeah, so you can put that on the wing in both shuttle and robot mode. The gun handle is much like all the other Fans Hobby releases. It does have a little rail that you can slide in to the hand to let him hold it securely. Wrap his fingers around it, as does the shield. For the shield, because of all this going in there, even with this piece out, it's hard to get the hand all the way in. But if you open up the fingers and then kind of put them around the handle, and then you can push those, and the shield will automatically close the fingers. And there's a little rail in there that you can line up with his hand and slide it down. Does not want to cooperate with me shooting from behind the camera. There we go. So you can hold the shield as well. And real quick, we'll get his little mini robot. We'll do Poseability here in a second. Oh, and I forgot these panels right here open up and widen. They don't flip all the way out like they do on the original toy to be the red and yellow stripes up here. But again, there's a little repro label in there, or Toy Hacks label. Those open up to it for chest detail. The mini robot, you just untab that from that, bring the arms down, bring the legs down, and rotate the robot here. I guess you want to go this way. And you want to be, when you're turning it back into a vehicle, you want to make sure that this ends up on the bottom so you can plug it in properly, and that this ends up, this little tab side ends up facing the side with this arm, because this arm tabs onto that in vehicle mode. And that's, you can do it the other way. You can transform it without having this oriented this way, but if this doesn't lock in, you try to use it as a landing gear in shuttle mode, that will just wibble all the way, and you want to make sure that locks in. Lift his head up. Bring his arms down. He's got a little hinge here on his satellite arm, which also can rotate here, however you want to do it. I guess this technically, oh, he does have a little hinge on that arm as well. And you just bring the legs down. You want to bring the double feet down down all the way, and then kind of fold this down on top. So with the leg extended and the two wheels on the bottom is technically how his legs are supposed to be, and then you just fold the extra wheel back. So bring it down, pull the extra wheel back, and there is a little micro robot. But yeah, so Poseability, you've got a ball joint at the neck, which is really nice, a really nice sculpted head. You got ratchet joints both at the interior shoulder and at the outer shoulder, ratchet forward and back. It doesn't have a bicep swivel, it's right here at the elbow, but then you've got a full hinge elbow here. You got a wrist swivel, you saw the fingers earlier. And you got an up and down and a wrist swivel, as well as an up and down joint there on the wrist. You got ratcheting hips in both directions. You got a thigh swivel. You got really nice knees, over 90 degrees in the knees. Although don't pull too hard, because you can pop this piece out from this upper white piece. And if you do that, it's kind of hard to get it back in, but he does have a pretty decent range there in the knee. And then you got ankle tilts, both at you got a swivel at the toe. You got an ankle tilt there, and the robot foot front and back and side to side. Real quick, as a size comparison, I don't have any of the original, I don't have the original Jetfire, unfortunately, to compare it to. But his arms down here, make him look more proportionally robot-y. First off, just for fun, here he is with the Titan, no, Titan class, Commander class Armada Optimus Prime we just got from Hasbro. And here he is with Naval Commander from Fans Hobby. He's actually a quite large and fun figure on his own. Like I said, he's really neat. Go ahead and turn his eyes on, so you can see just how big he is in comparison. And then let's get to the real meat and potatoes of it. I guess not really the real meat and potatoes of it. I really like Skyflame as a standalone figure. The fact that he turns into space pants for Optimus or for Naval Commander is quite cool. And, you know, replicating the functionality of the original toys from Armada. But this is a really fun, posable, like he's great as a nice big chunky space shuttle to fly around. And just a nice representation of the character. So yeah, to transform him, we'll go ahead and pop the rifle out. We'll go ahead and pop the shield off and collapse. There we go. Collapse that handle. We'll leave this flat like that. And then we'll go, or actually flat like this, because you want it to be a flat piece on the front for this. We'll go ahead and take the waist plate out and flip out the two side panels, which are also on hinges. So once you get those folded out, this plugs into the middle of the waist, and these can move forward to allow for leg movement when you get them combined, which is nice. And from here, we're going to collapse the nose cone pretty much all the way back to shuttle mode here. You're not going to fold it all the way up like in shuttle mode, but you're going to collapse all these bits that we just did. So unpack this, unpack it from down here, and bring this all the way down and around. These are just going to kind of deal with. These you can go ahead and rotate back down here because they're going to be kind of wings along the sides of the legs. I'll go ahead and collapse this piece back down, the waist piece back down. But as I mentioned earlier, it's very easy to just think, oh, I'll just extend the thigh up here and lock it into place for the combined mode legs. And that's not what you do. You leave these collapsed. And then on the back of the lower legs here, you pull this tab out and extend the whole lower leg and then collapse that back in, and that'll lock that into place so it doesn't collapse. So again, pull that out, slide the whole leg down, and you know you got it far enough when it slides back in and locks into place. So that's how you extend the legs for combined mode. You leave the thighs exactly the way they were for Skyfire mode or for Skyflame mode. Then, like I said, we're gonna deal with this, and we're gonna get all this stuff folded back in the way it should be. So we're gonna collapse that, slide his head all the way back, turn it around, and fold it up. You wanna make sure this goes all the way down because you want this to sit. His head should, there we go, collapse all the way into that gray, well, not all the way in, but you know, the sides of his head crest should be flat against the gray on this piece. Let me get this down just a smidge. My tripod's starting to fail on me. You take that, and then you slide that whole thing back up like that, and then we will, from underneath, lift this panel back up, fold the arms back, around, and in to here, like that. You want the gold pieces facing up, collapse the arms down, you want the white piece facing out, and you want the hand, I'm trying to remember how I do the hands, like this. I feel like the hands go upside down with the fingers up. You kind of wiggle that down. This is where it gets, where you might pop this panel off again too, because it gets a little tricky to push that through there. And then you collapse that white panel back up against the underside of that. Do the same on this side. Pull it over. And then down, rotate it around, push that in, hold this up. There we go. And tuck it back up under that panel. Like that, side to side, flip that up, fold these panels, push this panel back in and fold it up and tab it back onto the either side of that panel. And then you gotta, this is where it gets a little tricky. You've gotta pull these out. You can get these out of the way because in order for this to connect, you've gotta get the shuttle nose cone to the back of the robot. And you just lift that up and then this whole piece just above here rotates around, which does give him a waist swivel as well in the in combined mode. But anyway, you come around here and you gotta rotate just this upper section around, and there is enough clearance and everything once you get stuff directly out of the way to rotate that around. And then for regular prime mode, we're just gonna leave it like that. Officially is how this works. So we'll slide that back up like that. We'll get these out of the way. But essentially right here we have, oh, and actually these are on double hinges. You wanna bring these to the back side of this, like that, so they sit on the back of the legs. You can also straighten out the wings. If you wanna angle them back a little bit for more flare, you can do that, but bring this double hinge back on here for combined mode legs. Not sure why I'm not getting a flat. Because it actually is pretty stable in combined mode here. I don't know why he's just wanting to fall backwards here. Almost put him up against back there. Oh, because of the big, right, the big shuttle count. So anyway, we'll take Naval Commander now. And we'll go ahead and, even though he's not fully on camera, we'll go ahead and separate the upper cab from the legs. Just snap it apart like that. And you can turn the legs into the base, whatever you want to do with it. You can set them off to the side. Whatever you want to do with Naval Commander's trailer, just do it. And then you take this, and he uses the same connections here that he does for combine mode. There's a tab here that goes back here, and there's two little clips up here that go into these two holes. But you just go ahead and get them hooked in right there like that. And you bring these, you can slide these down to get out of the way here. There we go. And don't worry, we'll get a full body shot here in a second. And then the nose cone back here is supposed to kind of sit up, slide up here onto his back, and then you open up this, fold it in half to kind of sit up on his back here like this. Is officially how it's supposed to sit. It doesn't lock in. I wish it tabbed in somewhere, but it really kind of doesn't. You just kind of use the friction of everything to hold it up there. But then we take the waist clip from earlier and we plug it in right here. You may need to fold those hip pieces back just to kind of fit under those skirt tabs. Oh, come here, you. Oh, there we go. And then on Prime himself, you want to open this up a little bit, pop these panels, fold these panels back in, and then leave those flat like that. Because then you take the shield, there's a couple little clips here that are going to kind of clip over these here, and then these just kind of stay flat. You clip on the chest piece into place. Come on, arm. Fine, give me 1 second. There we go. And then you can put this gun in either hand. Since this one's free, I'm just going to go ahead and slide it in here. Same rail works. Slide into his hand. And there he is, all armored and ready to go. And you see once you get everything attached, he gets a little bit more front heavy. He doesn't fall backwards as much. But yeah, there is. This is probably my favorite configuration. I like that you see more of Optimus's or Naval Commander's upper body here with the space pants, or with Skyflame as pants. This wing's a little silly, but there's the whole gamut of Prime with the just Skyflame as pants. Oh, come here, you. And it's really, like I said, I really like it. It's really cool. He does have a little bit of a space shuttle backpack, but alas, that's the way it is. To go even further with it, as you know he can, we'll go ahead and we'll pop these guns off here again, because those are going to be connection points. We'll fold his antenna in. All of the posability in the legs stays the same here in pants mode. But this, you need to basically rotate here, because you're going to do it the opposite way. You're going to have this fold up on the back and have the lower bit hang down low for you all stay to peg together for the combined mode. But anyway, oh, now that's not focused again. Jeez. Moving this stuff around too much, but it's fun. Anyway, then you can get cross load, and just like before, and again, one of the things I missed the first time, let me see if I can get this raised up a little taller so you can see this from a better angle. Okay, tripod, can you do this for me? Thank you. Again, this is that there are some slots up here in the arms where they fold up. And that is one of the connection points I missed the first time when playing with crossload, which makes it a lot more secure, is that these gray tabs here do actually slot into there before you tab these in, or while you're tabbing those in. But you get more security by making sure those slot in there like that before you tab this part in back here to where those guns were. And that's actually a much more secure connection. We'll do the same over here. Make sure that leg gets slotted in, and then put that on. We'll figure out the balance here in a second. But then this kind of folds up just into the backpack like that. So it's a flat, the shuttle cone is flat on his back, although you do kind of see a little bit of Skyflame peeking out there. Though you can't see his eyes, so he's still technically hidden back there. Go ahead and turn his eyes on just so they shine out of there. And then you can put these guns back on the side of the cannons here. And you can have any of the mini cons. We'll just use Commodore here. You can go in here and pilot the gun on the back if you want. But there is the full-on triple combiner, space pants, shoulder cannons combination. I've never been able to get these. It's one thing I'm a little sad about, is that I've never quite gotten the these to click at the same angle. Like one's always a little higher than the other. I can kind of massage them to be mostly the same, but it takes some doing. But overall, it's a big, impressive combination piece. And again, you can have the trailer in battle mode next to this giant beast of a robot. And again, just for quick size comparisons, he's right here. Here's this whole combined mode with the recent legacy version we got. So yeah, there is Fans Hobby MB-22 Skyflame all hooked up. Like I said, fantastic figure, honestly, on his own. I really like him as a standalone figure, but I really like the look of the only I wish there was the base mode for Naval Commander's regular trailer is spread out a bit, and I don't have room for it. But I really like the look of Skyflame and Optimus, just the two of them combined as well. But Skyflame himself is just a really solid and fun standalone figure on his own. So even if you don't have the other two and you like Skyfire's design, he's worth it. He's fun. He's a really fun space shuttle. He's a fun robot, and just a lot of neat stuff going on with him. But yeah, there's Fans Hobby MB-22 Skyflame.